One of the reasons that I began work on the book was because I was conscious that there are lots of books out there about how to do worship from a particular perspective. So how to do an Anglican funeral or how to do baptisms from a Methodist point of view. And there are quite a few books which come at the whole area of pastoral liturgy from a theoretical point of view. But none that seem to come in the middle. And what I wanted to do is to provide a book that helps people to see some of the basic principles of how you lead pastoral rites, how you plan them, how you understand the very basic principles behind a pastoral service, so that people could do the things they're used to doing with better understanding, funerals, weddings, healing services, those sorts of things, but particularly that they would get inside themselves some of the principles of pastoral liturgy, so that they could apply those principles to things that they've never done before. So when someone comes to ask you to bless a new St John's ambulance, or to pray with them about a new stage in their life because they're retiring or moving house or something like that, how could you have some basic principles that you could then apply to give a good pastoral rite that would help somebody to mark that particular stage in their life or that community's life with prayer and worship? So one of the key principles, I think, that comes out in the book is the idea of the importance of what I've called liminal moments in the book. And a liminal moment is that point in a service where you mark a change. And that's about recognising that a pastoral service is not a service with a particular theme. So a funeral is not a service themed around somebody's death. A funeral is a service that helps us to do something, commend someone who's died into God's loving care, help ourselves to be ready to live without that person, and so on. So a pastoral service needs to do something, and one of the ways that pastoral services help us to sense that we do something is by taking us through that stage of liminality, that is, of moving from one phase into another. And so most pastoral rites that already exist, that the church does, have a moment. So in a wedding, that might be the vows or the exchange of rings or the blessing of the couple. In a funeral, the commendation of the person to God and the committal of their body to be cremated or buried. But what do you do when someone asks you to produce a new rite, which isn't in the book? One of the key things is not to turn it into a rite with a theme, but a rite that has a moment, so that at the end of it people feel they've done something, not just experienced something. And one of the great examples of that liminality is in this part of the world, in West Tivoli. The table here behind us is donated by West Tivoli Methodist Chapel, and at West Tivoli there is a Rites of Passage stone, which was a Millennium project, which is a great big lump of stone with a hole in the middle. And I certainly have a great photograph of school children passing through the hole in the stone to mark the end of their primary school years as they get ready to go into secondary school. And that image of passing through a gap, a doorway, is exactly what liminal moments are about. It's recognising that you move from one particular state into another, and to do that you have to do something. And the stone is a great physical way of marking that. And I hope that the book will help people to think of other physical ways of marking change.